Hi, everybody. How are you doing? And I hope you are here with us on the first, did we call it? Code and Chill with
Code and
Storyblok.
Chill, yeah.
And as I said, it's like a really code and chill. So we will be a lot of improvising. So there is no script, and we are just going to have a lot of fun and try to do some coding with a chill around. So first of all, we are your host today. So there is like Josefine with me on my left side, and for you it would be probably also like left side, I hope. And Josefine is our DevRel at Storyblok. She's expert on Svelte, and she is very good also in sending the newsletter, because so you are getting our code newsletter, you are getting it directly from Joseph, and she's the mastermind behind that, and many other things. And anything that you, Joseph, would like to mention about yourself, maybe?
No, not really. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the Svelte mastery and the newsletter. Thank you very much. Of course, there's lots of people helping with that, so I'm not going to take all the credit. But I guess I should introduce you. So here with me is Samuel Snopko, who you might know as Mr. Storyblok, because for the first year and a half or even more, Sam was doing what we're now doing in a team of 16 all by himself. So he's the papa of all our DevRel team, you could say, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much. And this will be the coding session. So we will have here also some others. I don't know if I should call them speakers, but it will be like the DevRels from the Storyblok. But first of all, I have few announcements. I have also the note here. So I just look on the left side. So what is this about? Just you probably wondering, there is somebody who's talking a lot, and you will get used to it probably if you will be here. And this will be about like showing you different like coding skills of our DevRels and how really cool they are, and how they can also get from different problems and issues that we will challenge them. Today, it will be about the showing, of course, how to start with Storyblok with 3 different frameworks, which you can then check out like what you like more. So maybe you will go then for the NextJS, what will be the check-it domain today, or you will go for Gatsby with Arisa or Nuxt3, I believe, because like there is already big difference between Nuxt with Alex Cover, who will be here today. And then, of course, we will have some such streams on Twitch, hopefully multiple times. We will have that for different stuff, for different coding, and hopefully coding maybe demo. So we will see. Did I forget something, Josephine?
No, I don't think so. But I was just going to say, if you want to make our contesters' life a tiny bit harder, you can, of course, always request things in the chat and let us know what you would like them to do, maybe. Of course, we're going to ask some questions, but if you have any, feel free to let us know, and we're going to put them forward.
And we will still share a lot of links. So they will be talking, we will be asking like dummy questions, because like I am the next guy. You guys, so if Arisa is showing Gatsby, I will be like, okay, what's going on here? Arisa, please explain that. And this is something which we will be trying to see. I'm looking into my notes. Yeah, of course. I should also mention that this live stream will be hopefully done in future with our partners, ambassadors, and other people. So you will meet and get to know also the other persons and people from the Storyblok community, and hopefully not only from the Storyblok community. And right now, also behind the scene, there is like the mastermind, who I don't know if I should name, but Sid, there is like somebody who's like taking care of all this streaming. And maybe we will see him once also in the live stream. But right now, he can also bring the rest of the speakers or guests today, hopefully. So let's wait for him. Hi there.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
How's it going?
Yeah.
I'm excited, and lots of people are here. I hope. I hope.
I don't know, like how many people? Oh, 28 people are watching, so that's not bad for the first Twitch streaming ever.
Yep, definitely.
Yes.
Really good.
And I mean, it's so exciting to bring all of us here together, right? Because I don't know if that's common knowledge, but we're joining from very different places around the globe. So, well, for Czechia, it's kind of late in the evening. The rest of us are here based in Germany. You can see that where Alex is a lot hotter than, than where we are, for example. So guys, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves? Maybe Arisa, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining. And I'm Arisa, originally from Japan, but as Josefine said, I'm based in Germany. So I'm kind of in the dinner time zone, but very excited to be here. So I'm going to show you today how very easily you can, implement Gatsby into your Storyblok project. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
Cool. Thank you, Arisa. Sorry, I was like sharing your Twitter name on the chat so that you can also like that people can ask you maybe later after the chat about the Gatsby stuff, because like you are sharing a lot of interesting stuff there. And the next, maybe check it. You are the next. Can you tell us something about you, where you're based, and what you are interested in?
Sure thing. So hello everyone, my name is Chakit and I'm based in India. It's 10:37 right now and I'm so super excited for the Twitch stream that I am all alive and I feel like it's the afternoon, fully energetic, and I'll be showing you how to work with Next.js and why it is the best framework to use. So let's see how it goes. Super excited for the stream.
Awesome. That's the competitive spirit we're looking for here. So Alex, what do you have to say to that?
I have to say that I'm Alex. I'm from Alicante, Spain originally. I'm still living here. And probably we could call this a sauna coding because here is 35 degrees in this room. So yeah, and I think I'm not the only one. So we can do some sauna coding from here. And I will be the one doing the next coding, I hope, if the organizers don't make more fun of us than they plan. Yeah,
we will do our best. So I will be not judging at all, and I will be not rooting for the Next at all. I will try to my best, and as a big Next fan, I will be like I will have a very interesting questions for you. Don't worry about it. So, and Oh, Josephine, go ahead.
I was going to say we're trying to be impartial, but it's hard, of course, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, like Nux brought me to the Storyblok. So, like for me, it was like a beginning Nux. So if you have feeling that I am on the Alex side, then there's a reason for that. Another side, there's like another question. And that question was then a very tricky question already. And that's why did you choose the framework you are going to show us today? So let's start with check it this time. Why are you going for Next.js and what do you like about the Next.js?
So there are a couple of things. I mean, I really like about Next.js. The first thing would be like you can go with server side, you can go with static side super easily, and it's not very much difficult to understand. If you know React, Next.js is just a step up for you, and you can just do anything very easily. The second reason would be the ISR. I haven't used it a lot, but it's super cool. It's super great. You can have like a couple of pages rendered and stuff like that. So it's like it's something which is, I don't know if Gatsby or Nuxt has that, but Next.js has that. So that's the other thing. The last thing I'd say would be the preview mode. So the preview mode is super cool. So in case if you have deployed your website and and still you want to have that, I mean, that's a static website which you have deployed and you want it to work like a single page application, you can just do that with the preview mode, and it's super amazing. So I really like it for that reason. Yep.
Josephine?
Oh no, that's a good start. I mean, it's hard to argue with that love for Next.js, right? So Arisa, how did you come to work with Gatsby?
Well, I would say based on what Chakit was mentioning about, yes, Gatsby also does have something similar to ISR. We have DSG, Deferred Static Generation. So it means that you can choose what kind of content pages to be prioritized to be served, so that you can, be faster to serve the content, as well as don't have to wait for a long load time. It could be, from 1 minute to hours, and we don't want to wait for hours. And also with Gatsby, you can query, let's say, the data with GraphQL, because Gatsby has that on the fly. And I'm really used to, query data from GraphQL. And if there's already in there on the fly, why not to use? And also compared to the REST API REST API, you need to like get unnecessary, let's say like informations, although you don't use, but GraphQL, you can get rid of all these unnecessary queries and you only can, retrieve the necessary ones. So it would be much faster, lighter. So that's why I chose Gatsby. And need to say that Gatsby is the one brought to me in the world of like DevRel kind of society. So I owe them.
Nice, nice. And I see we have Gatsby also joining us here, watching tonight. So that's cool. Somebody from Gatsby is watching. Nice, welcome. Shall we pass it over to, hey Gatsby, shall we pass it over to Alex then?
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yeah, Alex, tell me. Sorry, go ahead.
The reason why
I'm going to interrupt.
Well, the reason why I will use Nux is because it's the easiest for me. That's for starting. But why did I get into Vue? Well, that's a long story, but I started using it from the version 0.10. And then it came Nux 1, and then Nux 2, and now we are in Nux 3, which is like in release candidate. And basically, I could say that all that Chuck said, but for you. So you have all the SDKs that takes Vue, and on top of that, add a lot of automatic themes. Maybe something that NextJS doesn't have yet, and Next has is auto imports. So basically, you don't need to import some line of codes, and things will happen magically. We probably will see that. And the only thing, as far as I know, is that Next 3 doesn't have yet static site generation there, but it's into it. I mean, it should be coming to the framework soon. So probably we will not use it today because we will not be able. And yeah, that's basically from my side.
I have one follow-up question. I know I'm the Nux guy, so I have to ask. But why the Nux 3 and not Nux 2? And is it finally time to jump to Nux 3? I mean, did you test it a lot, or?
A good question. Yeah, probably because we are developers and we love living in the edge, right? And I mean, Nux 2, that would be boring. I mean, that's everyone is using Nux 2. It's too boring. Let's go for the edge. It will be more fun.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Actually,
living to the edge.
But actually, being serious, I think, as far as I know, that by the end of the summer, Nux 3 will be the new default. So probably it's better if we get ready for it.
Cool. Should we move to the next question, Josefine? What do you think?
Yeah, I guess. So we have lots of love for all the different frameworks. That's great. We're rooting for them. So, Chucky, could you maybe show us how to connect Storyblok with NextJS?
Sure thing. Just give me a second because, again, I'll need to share my screen. I'll need to put you all on a different screen.
Put a drum roll for you.
And the rest of you, like all the people who are watching, feel free to ask questions. Like literally, like we are here to crossfire check it, Alex and Aris, and ask why they are doing what they are doing. And that's the most importantly, why it's so complicated.
Very complicated.
I've shared my screen, but it's not on the. Yep.
There we go.
Now
Awesome.
we see.
Do you see it perfect, or do I need to zoom in or something like that?
It's tiny.
It's tiny.
It's very yeah.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll share the different screen because I knew.
Well, I mean, Alex said we're living on the edge, right? So this is perfect example for that.
And we are also improvising today. So this is the pilot episode. If you all like it, give us feedback and we will improve in next episode. So I can promise you that. So we're trying to really like go easy.
Yep. All right, just a second. It's almost done.
We believe in you, check it. We're not sharing the
screen. Don't worry, check it. We have a fallback.
It's the first challenge, sharing the screen.
All right, so I think it should be better now. Is it better now?
Oh yeah, it is.
All right, so what I'll do is I'll just go to the Storyblok app and I'll just create a new space because I think that's the easiest way to create a new space and easiest ways to connect it with my next app. So I'll just say Twitch next app, create a new space, and I'm just gonna copy this I'm just going to copy this from the quick start guide, and I'm just going to make it from that. So if I go over here, maybe, all right, I'm already in the Twitch folder. So I'll just do this. And what it is doing right now, in case if you, I mean, obviously, I'll need to tell you what it's doing right now. So it is creating, I mean, I'm getting the token directly from the quick started guide, and I'm just creating a new next project with Storyblok CLI, which is quite amazing. So as soon as I do this, it is just going to create the project. And if I go inside the project, and I'll just do npm install, which will just take a second. And now if I do npm run dev, it should be connected. It should be connected, and it should be running on my local right now. So let's see. Yep, it is running, and this is how. All right, so I'll need to change the URL as well. Just give me a second.
I just have to say this is not pre-recorded, so it's like real live coding, and we are like at 1 minute and 15 seconds. Sorry, check it. Okay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't stop the time, but you actually did. Always is.
All right. So I think this is how easily you can just use Storyblok with Next.js, and I think maybe do you want me to dive into the code right now, or maybe do you want to save it for later, like the other chunks?
No, that was very nice. I mean, like you did it under 2 minutes, and I didn't expect that, to be honest. Like, so maybe you raise the standard for Alex and Arisa. So who wants to be next? Arisa, Alex?
Wait, publish it, and let's refresh it and see the new content.
Cool. So you just installed one package and basically copy paste some stuff, and it is up and running, correct?
Yes, under 2 minutes. Under 2 minutes, yes.
Under 2 minutes.
Okay, let's try and go for 1.5 minutes then, huh?
No, it's gonna be harder, huh?
I'll stop sharing then.
Stop sharing. And Arisa, are you ready or?
Yeah, I hope. Okay.
Let's
so since we have a bit of time limit, let's use the quick start. So and I will create the new code, and then here there is a nice one-liner command. We can use it and then just run it in here. The reason why I use it's because everything would be, set, including the preview API key token. So it's very easy. You do not need to search around like, okay, where should I get this preview API key token? Where should I paste it into the source code? If you really want to quickly learn, then I highly recommend using that. Then you can have like a perfect working source code in your local machine, first of all, and can focus on to learn how it's structured. So let's give a name. I'm going to say just chill. And here is Gatsby. So I like NPM more. So there we go. Next up, I am going to go to this chill directory, then install the necessary package. And in here, I'm also, except the rest of the packages like React or whatever needed. From Storyblok side, you just need to install one Gatsby SDK that is called Gatsby Source Storyblok, and you're all set. So even without using, this quick start, really quick start, all you need to do is using one of the Gatsby starters of your choice, and just install Gatsby Source Storyblok. Then you have everything set. Then you can move on to, paste the preview API key token that is coming from Storyblok side, and then can basically set it up, your project up and running with the full feature of real-time visual editing, basically in just total 3 steps. Let's see how it goes.
What are we
Do
waiting
not
for?
point me out. We are waiting for the packages to be installed. I thought you were gonna point that out.
I was gonna say we crossed 2 minutes already. No,
I know. Don't point that out.
Is it Storyblok SDK?
No, it's not. I don't want to say in here, But one thing I can say is that it's not from Storyblok side. No.
Okay. So we are not going to point fingers who is the responsible for it, Laura, but it's your internet connection.
Looks
Nah,
like
I
already
don't think so. I mean, I double checked, but could be. I mean, that's something could change in the last minute, right? Come on.
Maybe the Gatsby team can also tell. Like, we are installing Gatsby, correct? Are we
Yes.
installing Gatsby right now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's good to hold them accountable, right? I mean, they're here. Oh yeah, and somebody heard my cat. I don't know what's wrong with him. He sounds so sad. I'm sorry.
No, usually it doesn't take this long. Let's say that it has like both elements, packages, my maybe Wi-Fi connection. Who knows? Okay, almost there.
You are in the lead check it, but there are still like there are more questions. So just you still didn't won.
So sorry for the
something
comment.
coming up.
Oh, we have an error still in live stream.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's
Do we have a jingle for the error, Sid?
Oh, we should definitely have one for the next time.
Okay, we need to have a jingle for the error or some cool emoji. So, Arisa, we will let you do...
Now it's up and running.
Cool.
So, yeah, now it's up and running. Then now you can see it's running it there. Let's see that. Over there. Oops. Oof. Okay, now you can tell we're really like coding in live. Let's see what's going on.
This is where it gets fun.
Yeah, I need to have over here.
By the way, this is Storyblok version 2. I don't know if you like the new screens and new design, but if you like it, definitely tweet, share, write us in comment how do you like it.
And if you don't like it, you can also tweet at us maybe and let us directly know how we can improve. So.
And we have also a reload button already. That was missing after launching the V2, and it's there.
It's there, yeah. Oh man.
You still go for HTTP. We need HTTPS.
Yep, I just realized that.
So now in the version 2 of the Storyblok, we require the HTTPS because it's already the standard, of course. So even for the local host, you have to switch to HTTPS. And
this was quite unexpected.
It's live coding.
It's also, a really good practice.
You're doing a great job so far.
Let's see. I haven't yet completed, but definitely went to overtime, then 1 minute and a half.
The reload button, from some reason, the product team is only on the local host. So if you are not on the local host, the product you don't see the reload button. And for Arisa, I'm answering the question from the people watching us on Twitch.
Oh, okay. Not this. Just.
And hi, Stefan.
Yeah, Stefan joined us. Hi.
Oh, hi, Stefan. I hope you're enjoying.
Cool, Arisa.
Let's see, because I see something error going on, so I need to find that out.
Maybe
could be still also.
Sorry.
1 more minute.
I just want to see where this error is coming from, and it says from index.js line 9. So here is the problem. Okay. Could be that this data is retrieving all the queries from GraphQL, and this query is the Storyblok specific query that we are getting it from Gatsby SDK. So maybe while I'm fixing that, Alex can show from the next side. What do you think?
So go ahead, Nax.
We could do that.
I will work on in the meantime.
Yes, we will switch the screen and Alex will show us the next 3. So I'm highlighting, it will be next 3. There is different setup for next 2.
It's the same, actually, same steps. But I will show next string because we are in the edge, right? I mean, you see Arisa. Arisa is now really in the edge, so we can understand that.
There's like, yeah, go ahead.
But I have to check to say that my colleagues, they cheated because they use the CLI. I will use another approach. And I will not do it in less than 2 minutes, but I will do it more in the, how to say, in a not tricky way. So let's say that, first of all, let me share my screen because from that window. Okay, how can I share the screen? Entire screen. Okay, I think, are you seeing my tablets right now?
So
we don't see your screen.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, now we see the live stream. You might want to.
I know you see tablets, right?
Still Inception.
Not yet. Yeah, we're caught in a loop.
Okay. Okay.
Oh boy.
Sharing the screen is really a thing.
Yeah, it's
okay,
hard.
then since I don't know how to share another window, then I will share the same window from the live stream. And now you see tablets, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So you show it how to start it from scratch, but what if you already have a project that you already created? I will do it in that way. So imagine you have an S3 project, and you don't need to imagine because I'm literally using the S3 template from tablets. So yeah, this is a newly created S3 project. And on the Storyblok side, I will create a new space. Let's say called chill NAS3. NAS3. Yes. Okay. So as I said, we will not do the CLI this time. We will do it in a more manual way, but still it should be all done in 3 simple steps. The first will be taking the access token, which should be already pre-created. And we will put it in the NAS config, but before that, we need to install the Storyblok Max module. And for that, we will use npm install Storyblok //Next. And for the rest of the SDKs, they use the names of the SDKs. So for example, for React, you will use this one, which is already pre-installed in the way shown. Or for the Gatsby, it's a different name. For NAS3, it will be this one. And once you do that, then you can use the modules from NAS3. And then I think it's this syntax. So you will add this Storyblok next module here and pass an object as a second parameter. And from that option subject, you can use the access token and you will put anything here. If I didn't miss anything, but I think this is, yes. And then run def, and the page should start again. Yes. Oh. Okay. It's loading. Oh, this is cool. I didn't know about this 3 structure that you move the mouse and they make it, right?
Nice. Yeah, you find it's funny now, but you still don't know like if it will be working everything because all the updates,
We know. Oh, wait. This is another extra step that I have to do for now, which is install Axios. But probably by the end of the month, we don't need to do this anymore. And in the meanwhile, Axios is installing. I will also, so we have this here. Yeah, I will add this URL to Storyblok. So to connect to the visual editor, basically you can use different URLs, like Arisa was changing. You can use localhost, for example, as your default environment, but you can add more. So in this case, I'm using the same URL from tablets. And I will run this again. So now, second step would be to create in the Next3 project a Storyblok folder where we will put all the Storyblok components that we will load in the application here. And I will make just a headline.py, which will be a template. As you can see, Saki is the winner. No doubt about that.
Yeah, check it. Use the create demo. This is like the cool idea. So if you want to create a Storyblok demo, you can use something like a create Next app. Then there is also a create NextJS app. So basically, you can go create Storyblok demo, and you will get set up the demo. I wouldn't call it like a starting point because it's really like the demo that you should use for demoing and trying the different frameworks. And if you are going for your own like setup, then I would still recommend you to check it out and like do your own setup for your projects and maybe doing your own configuration or boilerplate, because it's like there are too many options. So we really want to be headless and unopinionated on like how you should build your project with the technology. So as you can see now, Alex is probably trying to find out like what's new in the Next3 right now, like in the latest update. What's going on, Alex?
No, it's so fine. I created, let me put this in uppercase just in case. Basically, I defined the block property. This is the property that all the components that you put in the Storyblok folder will receive. And basically what I'm doing here is loading a component from Storyblok. But yeah, maybe that's a more advanced case. Maybe for now, I can just do this. I will bring here the block.title, for example. And that should be it for now. Then from the app.view, what I will do is I will get the data of a home story from the Storyblok. So now let me go to the Storyblok. We will go to the content. We have a home story here, and we have a teaser with only headline property. But well, even easier, because I want to make this as simple as possible. I want to add the schema of this page. I will add the title, which is a text. Yes. And I will add something here like hello, Sam, and save. And yeah, this is a property from the page component. And basically what I will do here is loading this headline component. And I will pass the block, which is the story.content. How do we receive the story.content? We will do it by using a very simple and the most straightforward function that we created in the SDKs, which is the use the story. We will pass the slack to the story, which is home, as you can see here. Home, and then the objects of the Storyblok client, which in this case it will be version graph. And just by this, oh wait, I need to add the await because of course this is an async call. And if all is correct, let me review. Probably this will work. And I'm not saying this very confident because I did everything just at one run, but let's see. Oh, look.
Hello.
So, hello, Sam and Josie is here. But the question is, okay, this is coming from a Storyblok, but use a Storyblok function does something else, which is also listening for live events, meaning that if I reload now here from the Storyblok side.
Alex, you're answering all of our questions. I see that you didn't write the questions we prepared.
Then I will be silent the whole.
I think Alex has an appointment tonight and just really wants to finish this so he can leave.
So the cool part of this is that if we change this, yeah, it changes real time. So
that's good.
Honestly, I thought it was going to be like harder, because in live coding you expect failure, right? So, but yeah, that's it. That's how you do it.
Oh.
That's how you do it when you have an already created Nux3 project, and the same will be for the other projects as well. Sorry for answering the question, Samuel.
No, that's totally okay. We will ask them again, and they will just then answer only the questions part. I mean, it was like a lot. It was a really nice explanation and very and a lot, and I hope everybody understands. And in the case we are here to learn something, so we can ask again the same question, and compare it. How does it look like in different frameworks? So, but back to the Arisa, if she fixed already the bug.
I did.
So Arisa, show us it working.
Let me show you. So let me show you the result first. So I've shared my screen. Okay, everyone can see that, right? So now the real-time visual editing feature is back. So I use the boilerplate that is available from the tutorial. You can have this link, or I can also paste it quickly, but Twitch right now is somehow really heavy. So I'm going to ask my colleague to post that. Anyway, so I use this boilerplate. All you need to do, just fork it, and then you have the preview API key token available, right? So this guy changes from the settings. So just grab this value right here, and you have the boilerplate ready in your environment. So from here, what I did was storing the API key in here, and then adding the configuration, because our Gatsby SDK is also considered as Gatsby plugin. So all the Gatsby plugin that you add, you need to add the configuration in Gatsby config file. Nothing complicated, just add in the name and view configuration in Gatsby config file. And then later on, moving on to the layout.js file, because this works as a global file. So we want to just only once initialize the Storyblok API. So here is the Storyblok init that you also might have seen from what Alex or Checkit has presented. So Gatsby SDK also has it on the fly. So you just need to import from it. And we want to use Storyblok API as well as the Gatsby's GraphQL. So that's also another benefit. You can use two ways to retrieve the data. If you want to, let's say, speed up and reduce the amount to retrieve the data, choose the GraphQL. If you want to just straight away grab the data from Storyblok API, there is an option. And there are the components. And here is the configuration with the API key token coming from config. And the details would be following over here, but we also could dig deeper later on. So I debugged it and it worked, so thank God.
Cool. So next question. Good. I mean, that, I was expected at the end a little bit faster. I mean, Chuck, it was really fast. And so don't worry. You make it at the end. Everything is working, and we showcase that it works. If you go to getting started, then you can also try it out. I promise you it will be faster. But now the question that partially basically Arisa and also Alex answered partially, I'm going to ask check in, and you can then show also Alex and Arisa only that little part. So I know that you love to talk as much as I do. You can see that I still talk. So the question is, how can you request data from Storyblok? How complicated? So check it. Just please show me those few lines that you need to understand. We already installed the so just repeat, because you was 1.5 minutes and nobody knows what you did. Basically, just run a create demo. So you just install the package that brings the React.js, correct? And now you have a project with NextJS and you want to request the data. You already installed, also added the token to Storyblok. So how to request the data from Storyblok?
All right, so that's super easy. My screen is there. Yes. So this is how the screen looks for the initialization, which was already done by the CLI for me. So this is the token and the initialization is here. Now if you want to just get the data manually, you can just do it with any of your HTTP client, and you can just request to Storyblok content delivery API, and you can just get the data. But since we are talking about SDKs today, SDKs make your work easier. So we have this API plugin in place. So you can use this API plugin. You just need to import this from Storyblok React. And this is going to help you. Let's go to the home page. And this is going to help you retrieve the data. So these are just the 2 lines of code which I'm using here to retrieve the data from Storyblok.
Okay.
So I'm initializing the sorry, did you say something?
No, continue. Sorry. I was just saying, okay.
I'm sorry. Is it just me, or is it a bit tiny? Can you zoom in so we see exactly what you're doing there?
Yes, please check it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. So these are just the 2 lines which I am using for getting the data from Storyblok. And again, if you want to use some sort of HTTP client like Axios or maybe any other thing, you can just use it manually. But since since the SDKs, as I was mentioning, they make our work super fast and super easier. You just need to use these 2 lines. And here I'm initializing the Storyblok API, and I'm just requesting the stories depending upon the slug. So this is like I'm just requesting the home slug. So we're getting the home. We're getting the data from the home story, and I can even pass the parameters. So for example, right now we are fetching the draft version. You can just maybe fetch something else which starts from maybe a folder which starts from blogs or something like that. So this is something which you can pass in the parameters as well. And yep, these are just the 2 lines which are helping me fetch the data, and I'm passing this on and on to the components.
Okay, so
Brilliant.
That's pretty cool. But you're also already passing the slug in there. So I'm guessing this is also the place where we would set up some sort of dynamic pages or anything. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Do you want to see how that works? I can do that.
Sure.
Yes, but later.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
Okay.
No, we want to exceed in comparison. So Alex, can you show us exactly what check it show us? How does it look like in the next Next?
Let's do that.
How complicated is it?
I mean, you already saw it, but I can show again, and also what's the other way, because in the Next and also in React, you can use the user Storyblok, and that's the only one-liner that you need to use. But if you need more, if you need more customization than what this function offers you, and basically that's, I think that will cover all the cases. But you can also access the API using the use Storyblok API. And this can be helpful, for example, for accessing anything from the JavaScript Storyblok client. For example, like I think it was something like rich text renderer. I mean, you can access, this is the Storyblok.js client object, and from that point you can access all the properties and methods that it has. But for most of the cases, you will just need to do this. Also, if you need to do, yeah.
I just wanted to like basically, so that means that you do the use Storyblok. You say you are asking for the homepage, and then basically the story constant will contain the data of your story. And for me, as somebody who never used the Storyblok, like really never, and is like really new in the whole topic, what the hell is story here?
What's the story? That's a good question. Actually, what you see in a Storyblok page, or not necessarily a page, we call it story. And at the end, the way you connect it to your frontend is via the API. You can use this button here and click on the JSON, and you will see that the whole structure of the page is in JSON format. And this is what we call a story, meaning this page represented in a JSON format. That's why I used here the story.content, which basically has all the data that I added here in these components and the visual editor.
So, and that's the what check it was the data. So he was also requesting the home, and that he called the story constant from the next, he called it data. So that's how you request the data. And now, Arisa, how does it look like differently in is it very different in the Gatsby?
I would say it's a bit different way. Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Because we have two ways of retrieving the necessary data that you want to have. But I would like to start from simple. So let's say something like similar approach, what Alex and Chekit showed us. So first of all, like Gatsby uses the GraphQL, and our Gatsby SDK that is provided from Storyblok side has created a special query named Storyblok entry. So it means that if you want to retrieve the story, which has the name of home, which is actually equivalent to home page of yours, then you set the equivalent equal, filter into home, and then the Storyblok entry holds all the necessary data that is being stored for this home entry. So you can even get the full slug of it, and you can get the content for sure to display like everything, what is being rendered, like hello world, feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, and then the name of the story, like home, if you want to display, and some following like necessary IDs. Because each, let's say like entries means stories, has the unique IDs of the numbers. So for Gatsby's case, you need to retrieve that. That's what I passed all these queries that I just showed you right now through this data. So that's why
Cool.
I have created the variable of story to store the partial, path to retrieve the rest of the, I don't know, maybe retrieving the feature or the image source, etc. And then I don't have to keep writing, the same path again and again. And then here is the use Storyblok state, and that is the React SDK also has, but we modified in the Gatsby way so that the Gatsby users can smoothly retrieve every single stories without tweaking around. And there is the rendered part. So that's how it works in the most basic, simple way in the Gatsby.
Well, very quick question before we ask a question from the Stefan. Are we using here the GraphQL from Storyblok or which API are we using in the case?
Great question. So just for your information, Storyblok also provides GraphQL API as one of the options. However, for let's say like Gatsby's project, you have the option that you can use the GraphQL API coming from Gatsby side because it's already being set up by default. And also you can choose to use from the Storyblok GraphQL API too. So it has the different, let's say, limitations. For example, like to get the numbers of the paginations, let's say that Storyblok API has the limitations up to hundreds per query. So if you want to retrieve more than 100 of the paginations, then it's maybe like having more, let's say, wider limitations, like over 200 or something from the Gatsby's GraphQL API. So you can choose depending on what you want to, like query and what you want to, like see the limitations depending on the APIs.
Yep. And I have to mention here that we are already starting working on the GraphQL version 2, by the way. Just little announcement for all the people who are watching and others doesn't know. So it really makes sense to watch it. But we have a question from Stefan, Judith. Sorry, Stefan, I'm not sure how it's properly pronounced. So maybe Josefine knows better. So Josefine, will you ask the question, Alex?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So do the SDKs do all the magic, or could you just do a plain fetch as well? Stefan is very curious about the magic.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, so of course you can go plain fetch. That's something you can always do. Or also some frameworks, like for example Next, they have like their own use fetch and magic functions, right? You can use that. But if you use the SDKs, for sure you will save some line of codes, and also there will be some niceties. For example, there is caching in place. The resolving relation, it's much easier when you use the SDKs. And actually, by the end of the month or early next month, I think we are planning to release the version 5 of our JavaScript client that works on top of fetch. So actually, if you use that, you will use fetch. There is no extra library under the hood. and that's the one that will use our next major versions of the SDKs. So yeah, from that point, I'm not sure if it makes sense to use plain fetch when the SDKs use the fetch by itself.
Awesome.
Yeah, and also, yeah, I would just addition that also we try to unify the whole experience in the developer experience between all the SDKs. So it's like the level of the complexity, it's more or less same. And if you want to build like a website, you don't really need to go too deep. And how more is your project complex, you can go for only the Storyblok vanilla JavaScript, or even deeper and just use directly our management API or just the content API. But let's move to the next question. So
Okay.
what's the next question? Chelsea, that's I think it's yours, so you go ahead.
Okay, thank you. You're like the puppet master here. It's like, oh. No, anyway. But so we've just seen how we can request. Just Samuel 101. No, but we've just seen how you can request the data from Storyblok. And now, Arisa, is there anything else I need to do to render and show my data?
Yes, I only showed the very beginning steps of it. So let me start from where I stopped before. So I think my screen is up now.
Yes.
So I showed you how you can first of all like use the query that is coming from the GraphQL. And then after that, of course, I only have, let's say, render the home page in here. So if I want to render another dynamic component that I want to create from Storyblok side, let me hide this, like teaser or grid, of course, I need to find a path to, like reach out to retrieve these data. And to do that, as Alex was showing you, there is the whole path you can see from the Storyblok API. So let's see that if I want to retrieve this teasers Hello World headline, I do not have to manually, go click and select the, let's say, the components and the field types from here. Instead, as a developer, I can go to a draft JSON in this case because I haven't yet hit the publish button. So let's see that, and let me scale up. So let's find teaser. So there is the teaser, and there is the headline of the Hello World. So that's the string value that I want to render it. And to do that, of course, there are the ways to retrieve. So starting from story, and there is the content, and there is the body. And body is an array object. So means that all the components that goes inside of this body's array object, we can basically map whatever kind of dynamic components that your users will create on the visual editor. So we do not need to manually create and render it and create all these process to do that. So what I'm going to do is that create the teaser component under the directory of the components. So there is a teaser there, and then in here the partial, the beginning of the path starting from story, then there is the content, there is the body. I have already dealt with, in this index.js file, because that's all the path we saw. And then here we are mapping it, the rest of it, and what kind of, dynamic components we want to render would be depending on which kind of components that the content editors will choose. So we don't know yet. But as long as, let's say, we prepare the dynamic component files, then it should be rendered. So this block holds all the beginning of the path, and then we just need to find the rest of the path. In this case, we want to render the teaser's headline, right? Because that's where we saw the Hello World. So that's all I need to, continue to retrieve the, let's say, in this case, string content in there. And then, importantly, remember that we went through this global component file to initialize Storyblok API and also importing and rendering it, the dynamic component. So here, what I did was importing the teaser component and then store the technical name of this component. And then it's going to be, dealt with from our Storyblok init API side. So you do not need to create manually, like, okay, conditionally, I need to render if there is the dynamic component. If there is not, then I need to handle something error handling. It used to be that you had to create one extra source code file to do that. But now with this new SDK, doesn't matter, Gatsby SDK, React SDK, Next SDK, you do not need to create this extra. So it's more performant. That's what I also wanted to say that. And that's the system, how you can render all the dynamic components from Storyblok API.
It's really cool. Next, I would give the word to Checky to show us how it's done in the React. I think like it will be quite similar.
Yes, almost similar. And I think Arisa answered for all of the frameworks, but I'll still show you how that looks in Next.js. I think my screen should be up. So yeah, all right. So I even remember using Storyblok a couple of months back. I mean, during the last year when we used to do it without the SDK, and you have to go and make another file for rendering the dynamic components. And it was like, I mean, I won't say it was difficult, but this is completely easier with the SDK. So what you need to do is, let me just pull this down a little. Yep. So what you need to do is you need to have your components inside Storyblok firstly. So I mean, whatever components you have, like for example, I have a teaser component, I have a grid component. Inside grid, I have feature component. And you can even see that right now, overall, we are on the page component. And as Arisa already showed you how the structure of the page looks. So let's not go back. I mean, let's not see that again. But yeah, so what you need to do with Storyblok is like, if you want to render the dynamic components, you need to make the components exactly the way you do for React or for Next.js. So inside the components folder, this is how I'm using this is how I'm making all the components. But what happens initially is, for example, let's again go back to the home page. And as we fetch the data from the Storyblok API initially, what we're going to do is we are just going to pass it inside Storyblok component. That is the, like, I'd say that is the only thing which we need to do. So this Storyblok component again is something which we are importing from Storyblok React, the package which we installed. And once you install the Storyblok component, it is going to render all of the dynamic components. You just need to register all of your dynamic components in the Storyblok init function where we initialize it. So you just need to import all of your components over here. And then you need to, I mean, you can just put the array over here. But for example, I've put the components in different variable, in different constant, and then I'm just passing all of the components inside Storyblok in it. So that's how easy it is. You can just make your components, and you can just register them as dynamic components within Storyblok init function. And as soon as you do it, you don't need to handle manually. Again, as Arisa mentioned that you don't have to render them manually. You can just pass this little thing over here like Storyblok component, and it is going to render all of your dynamic functions, dynamic components. And the same thing is happening inside the page. So if I go into the page, you can see that the page is like the page's content is an array of dynamic component. So what we're doing is we are mapping through the page's data. Again, we are passing the, what are we doing? Yep. We are passing the stories content as a block inside the Storyblok component. And inside the page, we are doing the same thing. We are mapping over all the components, and then we are passing it to the Storyblok component again. And it is going to render everything dynamically. So in case if you have a nested structure as well, you don't have to worry. It is going to handle everything. So yeah, that's how easy it is.
So easy.
Yep.
Sounds too easy.
Easy for you.
No, I mean, like, I remember it was harder when I was like coding with the Next.js and the React 2.5 years ago, like before you all did this SDKs magic. It was like much more files as right now, I have to say.
SDKs are magic.
Yeah, SDKs are magic. And I hope that we will still make it better, like zero code.
Almost there.
Let's see. But I think like we still can improve because there is the Next 3, and I think Alex has a one ace in the sleeve. So let's see what can Alex show us.
I do. And actually, probably we can do some component together here, because of course, since I didn't use the CLI, I don't have a lot of niceties that Scikit-Analysis has. But actually, I will say that in the next, there is a step that you don't need to do. So in the configuration, you don't need to add any components, because one of the things that in the Next SDK happens automatically is that all the ones that you put in the Storyblok folder, in the headline, they are auto-imported. They are discoverable by the whole application. That's one thing. Another thing that is happening, and it's happening automatically as well, it's probably you have seen in a researcher's checking the screen that when they click here, there is a green thing popping up here with a name. And you don't see it here because actually I forgot to add an important thing that you have to add to all your Storyblok components, which is, in the case of Vue, is Vue editable, and this is globally available in your whole application, as in the block. This is what our visual editor uses to identify the components. So now if I reload, and for some reason I don't see the reload button, so I will reload here.
The reload button is only in the local host, just for you.
Okay. Yes.
You're not in localhost.
You're in a Storyblok, and you find out about the Storyblok on live streams. Good. So now you see the page here, and this is because it's the component I'm clicking right now, and you see this outline. This happens only because I added the Vue editable, so you make sure you add it to your components. In the case of React or Gatsby, it's Storyblok editable. And the last thing is the Storyblok component, which again, in the case of Next and Next2 and Next3, and Vue, it's available on the whole application. You don't need to import it, and you can use it for this. So in this case, in this story, I have two things. I have a title property, and I have a body property, which actually is of the type blocks, meaning that I can add other components, like in this case is the teaser, with a headline to the page. So what you can do for that is you can look through it, and I will do it with a before. So I could do Storyblok content, wait, I will delete this. Before Storyblok content body. We will look through all the body components that we have there. And this will be block. Oh, I don't remember the syntax about Vue to do this. You remember someone? It was before block in DevRel, right?
Oh, I forgot. I can check in the code. Should I check?
And then, well, let's try this. And then I think we need to add the key, but probably if this doesn't complain, I will skip it.
Yeah. I think you have to define the key.
We're also taking suggestions from the audience, if anybody feels.
We are. Let's see if there's any errors. I don't see that. Whoa. That things are happening here. So
what are you trying to achieve?
We want to render different components in here.
It's dynamic rendering. I'm like checking that.
Dynamic rendering, yes. But of course. Wait, it's actually working and it's not complaining. But the only thing is that there is this teaser component, which actually I didn't create it with a headline.
Yeah.
So I will very quickly copy paste this. How can we copy paste? Whatever. I will create a new one, which is the teaser.vue, and I will copy paste this in the teaser. And we will render the headline. Now it should be discoverable. It's called teaser, right? Yes.
Yep.
Yes, there it is.
Yes.
So it looks really bad, but now this means that we could add dynamically more blocks here. For example, I could add another teaser, another headline, all that, and this is the way you compose a web page. You can add more blocks with different type of components, and you can compose the whole website just by this.
I have two questions for you, because I as a Next experience user, I have Okay,
Sure.
That's about the light behind it, but that's not the question. So sorry, I just write the comment. Anyway, the two questions I have, like, first of all, I saw you didn't import any component inside the Next. And second, what would happen if you would click not on the teaser, but you would add the grid in the Storyblok? If you add the grid in Storyblok.
Let me share the screen again there. So the first question. True, you don't need to in Nux3 because of auto imports. If you use a script setup, you don't need to import either the define props function, you don't need to import the editable, you even don't need to import the use Storyblok. If you use the normal script, you will need to import it like that. But I think this is like the default API that is used right now. So you don't need to import it. It's magically auto-imported. I know you don't believe it, Sam. You should try Nux3. You will believe it by your own hands.
All the components. And in the next config, there is not anymore like import through or something that you have to do.
No,
that's all.
It's just strings and normal objects. That's the only thing. You need to import the definers config, but that's there when you create a new nested project.
Okay. That's
what
really
about
cool.
What about if we add a grid? Then I will not do this right now, but you should. I mean, it will be the same process. I mean, we can also do it, but there is a grid already and a feature component here, and basically you will need to create the grid component here, as I just did with the teaser, with the define props block and the editable, and basically from that point you will render your components as you wish. But maybe you want the grid because the grid can host other components here, right? For example, the teaser that we just created. Well, in this case, the grid component, and I say I didn't do it, I will not going to do it, but now I will do it. So the only difference is that instead of the headline, right here, you will again use the Storyblok component because you can use it as many levels deep as you want. And what I will pass here are the components of this block, which I think we call it, how do we call it? So we are in the grid, columns. We call it columns. So we will pass that block of columns property, columns. And if I didn't miss anything, which I have a lot of doubts, this should render. So we have the page, teaser grid. And yeah, of course, we need to add something to the teaser. Hola. Maybe we should reload. And yeah, probably I really missed anything, something. Not sure why.
The columns is array. The columns is array. You need to define it because
it's an array.
So you have to also look through it.
Right. You are right. And we had the error there. But let's yeah. So we will do the same thing before block the columns, column in block the columns, and we will pass the column to the Storyblok component. Let's try now. Yes, there we go. So yeah, again, you can add also really here nice. For teasers, and it should work. Yes.
Really nice, really nice. I'm really happy. I really appreciate how happy you are on the live stream when you finally it work, because I see you are little stressed, it work, please work, and then finally work, and they're yola.
Yeah, and I mean, we know it works, right? But the live coding gods, they need their sacrifices.
Yes, definitely.
I also love how we can see behind the scenes every time Alex shares his screen. It's like Inception all over again. So you see what our setup is like.
I think we should slowly close. So Josefine, maybe the last question today.
The puppet master is back. Yeah. Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we've already seen now how we can render and show the data, and maybe we can just have a tiny sneak peek on how to set up the whole real-time editing experience for Gatsby, maybe?
Yeah, because this part I haven't yet shown or
Yeah.
explained, so let me do that. So, yes, my screen is up. So let's go to, let's say, one of the dynamic components. Let's start from easier one. So this teaser one doesn't have another dynamic component to nest inside. It's just like single kind of layer of the component. And here is the Storyblok editable. I would say an API provided from this Gatsby SDK. And Checkit also can show you, or maybe you already have seen, that in React SDK has the same name of the functionality. And what you can do is that just to make sure to wrap the components that you want to make it to be editable. So in this case, this teaser component has one field type, right? Let's go to here, over there. Just one headline field type. If you have any other field types, then you can also add the other one, like following like paragraph, and then like something description and stuff like that. Log paragraph, stuff like this. And of course, it will yell at me because the syntax is not correct, but we don't have yet. So I can just exclude, but just an example. So that's the actually only logic in here. Additionally to what I have initialized Storyblok API first, and then there is the dynamic component that I'm calling this another API Storyblok component. So this handles all the conditional like statement that if there's a dynamic component, then we want to render all these, and if there's not, then we don't render. But you don't have to write these like several lines of the code, and instead just like import and call this one-liner code in there, and then you can enjoy the rest of like a very easy part to only make sure to wrap the component that you want to make it editable, and then just pass the path to render, for example, in this case, the headline over there. Then you will be able to enjoy this full feature of it was here, teaser, right? So you can enjoy the real-time visual editing experience. And the logic is that behind the scene, there is an iframe so that our JS bridge, Storyblok JS bridge, will communicate through iframe. And to implement this feature, first of all, to load this JS bridge, you need to be able to listen to all the events that are happening on the visual editor, like input, where I was filling out these values, and also clicking to select the, the components where I want to make the edits, stuff like that. And it used to be that in Gatsby, because Gatsby is a framework that has been, built from the React fundamental, it used to be that you had to create one extra, quite long source code file just for like this, React custom hook to, first of all, create the logic of listening all the events that are happening on the visual editor, as well as creating the logic to load this Storyblok JS bridge. And it used to be that I remember that more than 70 lines of the code, and it's not performant, right? So we got rid of all these, and then we handle all these, hard workaround, not necessary, work that users need to experience on the Gatsby's SDK side. So you just can basically like enjoy in total 3 steps: initialize Storyblok API, and then render the dynamic component by calling this Storyblok component, and then like make sure to wrap the components that you want to make it to be editable. Then done. So that's the logic.
Bam, bam, bam. And thank you so much for showing us. That was really cool. And it's always good I mean, magic is great, but it's good to know what's behind it in case at some point it doesn't work, right? So thank you so much for giving us some insights into that. And we have been hinting already before at how to make dynamic changes and how to maybe show different pages or incorporate dynamic components. So maybe we can take that as a last round. Sam, what do you think? One more person to show us, maybe? Do we have a volunteer?
I think like Check It has some funds here, so he should go.
Okay.
He already set it up, right? So
yeah,
I can do that, but it's gonna take just a little time. I mean, it's not gonna be. I mean, it is gonna be super fast, but still. All right. So I'll need to clear a couple of things, and I'll need to code from scratch for that. So what I'll do is, I mean, we need to see the dynamic pages, right, or just the dynamic components?
however
dynamic
you
components
want.
also okay.
Yeah.
Let's
Just
go with the
it's-
pages and see if it works. All right.
Is,
So
just FYI, maybe to generate and render dynamic pages, I have everything set up. So I don't know if it helps you or not. I don't know. Just saying for the
you
sake
can go
of
ahead.
the time.
I mean, I just need to copy paste a little code. That's it. So if
Okay.
No, let's
Come
keep
on,
Check It.
do it-
He was
do it
like
from
always
scratch.
like so good. Yes, go ahead. I was
Okay, let's
already
keep
like
Check It.
debugging from all of the people.
all right, I'll just delete this file. Let's rename the index.js to slug.js. So this is going to be rendering. This is going to be catching all the dynamic components, and this is going to be rendering that. Let me see the code if I have somewhere in a better, which looks a little better. All right. So right, let me just copy this complete thing, and I'll just explain you guys. because it is going to take a lot of time if I code it from scratch. So I think this should be it. Yep. I'll just clear this line up. And yes, I'll explain the code first and we'll try it and let's see if that works. All right, so what we're doing with Next.js right now is we're just using two Next.js concepts. The first one is to get static paths. So we're getting all the paths with the links endpoint from, again, the content delivery API. So we're getting all the paths for all the paths which are there in Storyblok. So if you saw that there was the home story already there, so it is going to just get that, but we are going to create new story as well. And you can see that we are ignoring the folders, so we are not taking in the folders, and then we are just splitting the slug and we are pushing it in the paths. Now, as soon as we get those, what we are doing is we are fetching the data for those particular paths which are getting there. So like the static paths which are there, we are just getting the props for those slugs. So this is just doing that. So we have this params object created when we use this static paths, and as soon as we are getting this params object, we are taking the slug and we are fetching the data for that particular slug. Again, the way we did it before, like there was no static paths before. So this is how we are doing it, and then we are just getting the data and then we are passing the story, like that is data.story to the component again, and it is gonna work like the way we did. This is again something which Arisa showed you how it works in the Gatsby, so it is somewhat similar. So it's there for the live like real-time updates. Let's hit save, and I just hope this works. Let me publish this. Oh, it works. Wow. All right. So this is how you can just easily create dynamic pages. I'll just create a new page to see if something else works. So let's say test page, and let's go to the test page. It's going to give 404 because we haven't published it yet. The reason this is coming is because here we are fetching, I guess, like the links endpoint. It gives you the published just the published links. So that's why it's not there, but you can just again put in the parameters over here and say that I also want the draft pages. So if I publish it, it should be working. Yes, it does. And let's now add a teaser again. And yes, it works. So yeah, teaser, and maybe again a grid or a feature. So if there is a grid, inside a grid, let's add a feature.
Check it out. Check It is building the website in the real time.
Now this is super easy. Now you can just create new pages and it's gonna go and go and go on. So yeah, it's done.
Awesome. That was also like with all the build up, that was a lot faster than I expected it to be. That's really cool. Nice. Thank you so much. Awesome.
Yes.
I think, we've seen how it works for 3 different frameworks now. And I think we can slowly start wrapping things up here. But not to worry, we're going to do this again very, very soon. I guess next Tuesday, same time, same place, we'll be back with different frameworks. And now I should have a list of what that is. I think Svelte is going to be there for sure. And then somebody else has to help me out. Is Remix going to be
Remix, yes. Remix would be up by Facundo.
Remix. And what is the third one? Marissa?
Astra?
Again?
Astra?
Astro. I think Astro.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so next week is then the new kids on the block, basically.
Yes.
And we're going to do the same thing again. It's probably going to be just as chaotic as this, because that's the way we like it. But yeah, sorry.
I just wanted to say fun, fun, fun.
Yes, and that too. Exactly. And if you can't get enough of our streams, there's also on Thursday, Girl Code Coffee Chat for the first time. We're meeting at 4 p.m. Oh, there we go. Yeah, 4 p.m. on Thursday. It's going to be Arisa, Monica, who's on the dev team, and me. And we're going to chat about imposter syndrome, what it means to maybe work as a developer or just break into the field. And we know it says girl code, but everybody's welcome. We're not going to exclude anybody. So come, say hi. We'd love to have you. And yeah. This was a lot of fun. Did I forget anything? Are we missing things? Does anybody want to say?
I don't think so.
Words?
That's all the announcements. I hope it was like fun. Was it fun?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I got upset like when the things were not working, but I was able to fix it like while Alex was like, showing the content. So and then I survived and it was fun.
Oh yeah.
And if you guys don't want to miss out on the next appointments that we have and the next fun appointments, then you can just follow us on Twitch and you'll get notified whenever we go live or whenever something's come up. Thanks, Sid, for the reminder. That's a good point. All right, then. I guess we can call it a night and say goodbye.
Have a nice rest of the day and...
see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Bye.
See you again.
Thanks for joining.